if you miss anything, you'll be able to catch the video on our Facebook. So I think if you're ready, Emily, I'd like to hand over to you. We can get started. Thank you very much.
Okay, hi everybody, welcome. So we're going to look at the task 2 again today, and our topic for this week is advantages, disadvantages, essays. Okay, so what we'll look at today is understanding the question, okay, and planning your essay. Then we're going to look at some linking phrases and some vocabulary that you can use to talk about benefits and drawbacks, okay? So this is our example question, okay? So have a look at that and tell me what the topic of the question is today. There it is. What's the topic asking about? Okay, yeah, we're talking about population. What specifically are we looking at? Okay, the ages of the population. Okay, yeah, so very much so. At the number of young adults as compared to the number of older adults, okay? And how do we know this is an advantages, disadvantages question? Okay, yeah, so it's very clearly stated at the end, do the advantages of this situation outweigh the disadvantages? So this is one kind of advantages, disadvantages question. There are some others which we will also look at, okay? So you have the topic and then you have the task, which tells you that it's advantages and disadvantages, okay? So remember, the first thing that you need to do is to underline the key words. So what would you say are the key words in the topic statement? Okay, yeah, so definitely population, okay. Yeah, okay, so we're looking at young adults and the number of older people as well, okay, which is like a ratio. Okay, and it's always good to underline the questions in the task as well, just to always remember exactly what kind of question we're looking at here. So yeah, this was it, advantages, disadvantage, and in this case, we're looking at outweigh, okay? So that's one kind of question. What are some of the other kinds of questions that you might get, which are advantage, disadvantage questions? Okay, yes, yeah, they might also use words like benefits. Okay, yes, Monica, I think they are often they're going to ask you to discuss the advantages and disadvantages, or yes, for Hannah, what are the advantages and disadvantages of this situation? Okay. So we will talk a little bit about that, but we're specifically focusing on the first one where it uses the word outweigh, okay? So the first thing then that you need to do after that is to make your plan, okay? So here, very clearly, we're going to have one paragraph where we talk about the advantages and one paragraph where we talk about the disadvantages, okay? So what could be some advantages of having a large number of young people in the population? Okay, so good. So there's high productivity, the country grows, economic development we've got from Forum, large number of working population, fresh minds, Sonali, I like that very much. Creative innovation, yes, very good. More taxes, hope for the future, very good. Okay, so we're going to go with 2 arguments. Remember, it's always a good idea to have 2 arguments on each side, which you then have supporting evidence for. So we're going to look at having a bigger market for goods and services, and the fact that the young people, as a lot of people said, then you have a large working population paying tax, so they can support the elderly people. Okay. Looking at the other side, what kinds of disadvantages might you find? Thank you, Brad. Well, that's always a possible argument there. Lack of experience, that's quite good. Yeah, that's a popular one. And older people have more experience. Okay, yeah, not enough jobs to go around. Okay, quite good. So what we're looking at is strain on the public services. Okay, and as quite a few of you have said, that there could be a lack of jobs for young people. Okay. So, and in this case, the question is saying, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Okay, so we need to decide which side we are on. Okay, you've got to decide which one outweighs the other. Okay, so in our case, what we're going to choose is the advantages. Okay, you need to decide that before you start writing, because it's going to affect how you do your introduction and how you structure your paragraphs in the body. Okay, you don't need a 3rd paragraph, Bishwajit, that you will just put that in the conclusion. Okay, but the way that you structure, as we're going to see, and the language that you use in the body will show that you are you're deciding that the advantages are more important. Okay, so we've got our plan, we know what arguments we're going to put forward. Okay, so let's look at the kind of structure that we can use here. Okay, so obviously we have our introduction at the beginning. So what kinds of things can we put in the introduction? Okay, very good. SSA, we're going to paraphrase the statement. Okay, or it's kind of general statement about population. Yeah, very good. So that will be our first one. Okay, very good, Ramahath. And then we're going to give an opinion. Okay, because remember, in this case, we are arguing for one side, not the other side. Okay, so paraphrase the question, and then what we call a thesis statement. So that's where you give your personal opinion. Okay. Then we'll look at the first body paragraph. So first sentence always is the topic sentence. And in this case, we're going to start with the one that we are arguing for, the stronger side. So this is the advantages for us. Okay. Give one idea, so our first argument, which supports that it being an advantage to have a lot of people. Then you need to go into the supporting evidence. Okay, so explain, give an example, give a reason. Okay, then you're going to have a second idea. Okay, it's an option, but it's a good idea to have a second idea, which you can then give some supporting evidence to as well. Okay, so that's your stronger side, the side that you're going to argue on. Okay, then paragraph B, we're going to introduce our weaker side. So this is the side that we disagree with. Okay, this is because the question says, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? So that's a question which means you have to choose one or the other. Okay, so you have to have an opinion on one side. The advantages are more important or the disadvantages are more important. That's the way that the question is phrased. Okay, we'll have a look in a moment at this, at how you would structure the other types of questions. Okay, but they are asking for opinion in that specific kind of question. Okay. So in our second body paragraph, we introduce the side that we don't agree with, but we still need to talk about it because you still need to have a balanced essay. Explain a possible argument on that side, a possible disadvantage. And then you counter that idea. So you say why that's not really a very good idea. Okay. So it shows the examiner that you have thought about the other side, that you can produce an argument for the other side, but that you can also show why that's not a very strong argument. Okay. Then finally, we have our conclusion. We summarize our main ideas, our ideas from the plan, and we restate our opinion, so our point of view, that we have actually been showing all the way through the structure. Okay, so it's very much arguing on one side or the other side throughout the essay. Okay, if the question is discuss the advantages and disadvantages, then you will have a much more balanced essay. So your body A will talk about the advantages, 2 possible advantages objectively. Body B will talk about 2 possible disadvantages objectively. You don't need to counter. Then only in the conclusion will you then state that you agree with one side or the other, or you will make a general summary of what those advantages or disadvantages are. Okay, so that's why it's important, very important to read the question. You know, I know it's obvious when the words advantages and disadvantages are there that you know what kind of question it is, but you actually need to know, is this one where I have to argue strongly on one side, or is it one where I have to give a balanced essay where I just discuss both sides objectively? Okay, so that's why we're paying attention very much to the question. Okay, so let's start looking at the introduction. So we've got the question up for you again. So as we said before, we're going to paraphrase the statement in the question. So what are some of the ways that we can paraphrase some words? Yes, in discussion question, it's fine to give your opinion in the conclusion, Monica. But it will be a balanced essay in the body. Okay, very good, Vithya. We can use synonyms, so we can change the vocabulary. How else can we do some kind of paraphrasing? Okay, very good. We can change the word order. We can use different kinds of voice, so passive voice, active voice. You might also be changing the tense. Okay, anything else? There's one thing that I think, yeah, very good, Ram. So there's also the word formation. So we can change an adjective to a noun to a verb, okay, which is also a very good way of showing that you can manipulate the language. Okay, so let's look at this in more detail. So this is our general introductory statement. So in many countries around the world, okay, very good. Yeah, we can just say young people, so we don't want to repeat adults, so young people. And what could be a verb? Citizens works very nice as well, Ramesh. Okay, very good. Yash, make up. So constitute, make up. Okay. You could also talk about the younger generation, yeah. So they make up a large Okay, proportion, paniotis, that's very good. Okay. Okay, people is countable, so we don't really want to use amount. Okay, remember that amount is for uncountable words and number is for countable. Okay. Okay, yes, section, share, very nice, Siraj and Ramos. We've gone for proportion, but there are different things you could say. Okay, in the statement it says compared with. So how can we change that? Okay, good, yeah. So I think Brad, in comparison to, you could also say relative to, that would work nicely as well, okay? So that's just our introductory general statement. Okay, and then because of the nature of the question, we're going to give a thesis statement. Thesis statement just means that it's your opinion, okay? So we can say this essay will, what can we put in the gap there? Remember, this isn't really a discussion. This is where we're definitely having an opinion on one side. Okay, very nice, Atta. We'll argue that, state that as well. Somebody said that was very good as well. So introducing a thesis statement, this essay will argue that, okay? So demonstrate will work as well. That's very nice, yeah. State, yes. What could be the next word? Okay, very nice. Yeah. Okay, exactly right, Atta. So rather than using the word advantages, we're using the word benefits. Okay. The benefits of a... Okay, very nice. Yeah, of a younger population. Okay, or we've gone for a youthful population, but yeah, it's an adjective, so you need to say youthful. Okay. Okay, we've got outweigh in the question. Is there a synonym that we can use for outweigh? Almost, not quite. Okay, yeah, that works quite well. We've gone for offset. Okay, so it's more like a kind of compensation, a balance. So the benefits of a youthful population offset the... Okay, very good, exactly the right paraphrase, synonym to use for disadvantage. Also, Ram, you could use negatives as well. Okay. And then we're going to explain that, and we're going to introduce our main ideas. So how can we introduce that? So we're giving the explanation here. Not really a contrast. It's explaining the reason why we're going to argue on this side. Not quite. Not really there. Okay, as or since you could also use as well. We're giving the reason. Okay, a country with a greater number of young people is... Okay, yeah, we could definitely say more. Okay, or if we kind of think of the quality, yes, very good. Ram, better able to grow its economy. Okay, and care for its... Okay, good. Elderly citizens, aging works very well, Suzette. Yes, senior citizens, we've had quite a lot of. Okay. So we've got our, first of all, our background statement, which is really a paraphrase. Then we've got our thesis statement, which is our opinion. And then just a brief explanation of why that's the way that we are going to argue. Okay. So that's our introduction. Now we need to look at the first body paragraph. So remember, this one is the one that we are agreeing with. So this one is our strong argument. Our 2 points of view are up there at the top, so you can see those. So what do we always call the first sentence in the body paragraph? Okay, very good, Brad. Yeah, and Foram, the topic sentence. Okay, so we're introducing the topic of that paragraph. Then everything in that paragraph must link back to the topic sentence. Okay, so having a look at the missing words again. A country with a younger... with a... Okay, yeah, very good, Monica and Atta. Certainly we can say population. We're trying to change things up a little bit here, so we could use demographic as well. Okay, it's a nice option. So a country with a younger demographic has a number of key advantages. Okay, so we're clearly using the word advantages in our topic sentence. There's no doubt about what part of the answer we're going to talk about here. Okay. Then we introduce our first idea on the side of the advantages. Okay, so how can we introduce our first idea? Okay, yeah, so we got firstly, Forum and Ramesh. First of all, Nidhi and Tatiana, very good, yeah. So first of all is what we went through as well. Okay, and then we state our first idea. Okay, then we need to have our supporting evidence. So remember, you always need to go into more detail with every single idea that you're going to give. Okay, so how can we link from introducing the main idea to giving more explanations? Nearly, if we just shorten that down a bit. Okay, very good, Siraj, this, okay, and Sonali. Remember, this always links back to the subject of the previous sentence, okay? So this helps to boost the country's economy. Okay, yeah, because... And then we've got a relative clause. So we're explaining why that's the case. Okay. Okay, very good. Very good. As young people get older, they purchase essential items. Okay, very good. Then we're introducing our example. Okay. Remember, like is a little bit informal for the task 2 essay, okay? Better to use such as or for example, okay? So we've given an explanation of why that boosts the economy, and then we've given a very specific example to back up that explanation, okay? Then we're going to introduce our second idea. So how can we introduce our second idea? Okay, yeah, so we can say, yep, secondly or furthermore, okay. So we've gone for secondly, but certainly any one of those linking phrases that introduces a second idea on the same point. Okay, again, yeah, moreover, Ramahat, that would work as well. Also isn't really formal enough to use at the beginning of a sentence as a linking phrase, okay? You can use it within the sentence, but not at the beginning of the sentence. So what can we put here? Secondly, a youthful population. Okay, that would work very well, or for him, that could certainly be the case. Okay, or something like certainly, Paniotis, okay. So we've gone for also, but another adverb would work as well, okay. introduced our second idea. Now we need to go into a little bit more detail about this. So how can we do that? What's our linking phrase? Okay, yeah, Majo. So we could say, for example, for instance, for example. Yeah, that's right, Monica. Okay, very nice, Ram. We could say to illustrate. We've gone for example. Okay, young people are able to provide care and support to their elderly parents and grandparents. And then we're giving a consequence of that situation. If you pay attention to the word in, okay, very good, AJ, yeah, okay, resulting in, or which results in, Yash, that would work as well, a more civilized and happier society, okay? So we're ending the paragraph with a result. It's a good, strong way to end the paragraph, okay? So this is the point of view that we're supporting. So this is a very strong, clear paragraph on the side of the advantages, okay? Then we're going to introduce the disadvantages. We need to show the other side of the situation, but we're not going to support this particularly. But again, we need to start with the topic sentence where we give our first idea, okay? So one way of showing that this is not really what you think is to start the paragraph with a general opinion, okay? So this is basically, you're saying this is something somebody could say that would be a disadvantage, okay? So how can we introduce that? One commonly cited, okay, certainly drawback. You could say effect as well. Issue related to would work. We've gone back to disadvantage because we used drawback in the introduction, okay? Of a younger population is that, okay, it places a greater strain on public services. Okay, very good. So again, concrete, specific example, very important, schools and hospitals, okay? Then we're going to give a bit more explanation of that, okay? But remember that we are also going to counter this idea. So we're going to say, okay, some people say this, but, and then give the counter argument. So what is the phrase that we can use? Okay, very good. Yeah, a lot of people got that. While it is true that, although would work as well, yeah? So while it is true that greater investment in public facilities is required to okay, that would work. Remember, it's to, so we're looking for an infinitive here. Okay, support's good, accommodate, very good, Monica. Larger numbers of young people, and then immediately we counter that argument, okay? So how can we begin that? That's shown. We need a subject here. Okay, very good. Monica's on the ball today. Yeah, so research study, well, studies would be have shown, but yeah, right idea. So research, singular, has shown that the tax revenue generated by this demographic more than, okay, very good, Brad. Yeah, Ram, compensates for the additional public spending. Okay. So we introduce the side that we don't agree with a general opinion, and then we give the explanation of that opinion that somebody could give, but we immediately counter it and show that this is not really an argument. Okay. And then we can go into more detail to explain why it's not a good argument. Okay, so we're giving a reason here. So this is, It's not really, remember you're giving a reason, not an explanation. Okay, Alatunda is good. Yeah, this is because. Okay, so we're giving the reason why that is the case. Okay. So we've shown another side, the opposite side of the argument, but we've also shown why that's not really a very good argument and we don't agree with it. Okay. Again, just to go back, if the question was discuss the advantages and disadvantages, we would have two equal body paragraphs where we presented general opinions for advantages, general opinions for disadvantages, and they would be completely balanced. Okay. So finally, we go to our conclusion. So first of all, we are going to summarize the main points. Okay. So how do we start a conclusion? Okay, yeah, Ajo, okay, very good. In conclusion, any paraphrases for that? Any synonyms for in conclusion? Okay, to sum up, okay, to summarize, that works well. Okay, so we've gone with in conclusion, or yeah, in summary. So how are we going to compare? Okay, no, Rinse has got it. So while or although, okay, as Madhu said, there are disadvantages to having a youthful population. Okay, it is, so here we're introducing our opinion. Okay, yeah, very much so. I think we've got a lot of clear and evident. It is clear that, or it is evident, is very nice. Young people can make a significant contribution to their country. Okay, so how do they make the significant contribution? Okay, very good. By developing the economy. Okay, remember when you say how you do something, you need the by as well as the ing form. Okay. Then just to finish, we again show very clearly that this is our point of view. So weighing things up, we would say on okay, yeah, we're not contrasting, we're just weighing things up. So on balance, okay, on balance, I would, okay, yeah, I would say that. Okay, I would conclude that, that works well, yeah, or I would argue that. Okay, having a large number of young people is an, okay, very good, Siraj and Jitsup, an asset to any country. Okay, so again, we're not using the word advantage again, we're not using the word benefit, which we've already used, but we have a final one, a new synonym, which is asset. Okay, so again, in the conclusion, you're referring back to your thesis statement in the introduction, and you've shown all the way through that you're following the same point of view, okay, that you believe that the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Okay, so very important to make your plan at the beginning and to decide which side you are on. If the question says discuss, you make your plan, very important. You need your arguments on both sides, but it's going to be balanced, so you don't really need to decide at that point what you're going to put in the conclusion. Okay. Yes, well, this would definitely be a 9 RAM. Okay. So, okay, that is the end of the presentation.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Annalie. I'd just like to invite everyone to join us in thanking Annalie for that very interesting presentation and for guiding us through this question type. So thank you very much. Excellent. We have quite a few of your questions to get through in the Q&A. If you do have additional questions, feel free to put them into the Q&A at the bottom there. You can also find additional practice for this question type on our website, IELTSonlinetest.com. Volume 4, Test 1, and Volume 6, Test 3 are both different types of advantage-disadvantage questions. So you can go onto the website and you can have a go at the same type of question there. I saw a question to say, is it possible to record this session? And Rabia, yes, the video will be on our Facebook group in the next couple of days. So you'll be able to view that on our Facebook group. I have just put the link in the comments there for you. So before we look at your questions, we're trying to decide the topic of future webinars. So we wanted your help to do this. We have launched a poll, which I have just opened up there. You can decide which topics you'd like us to cover, whether it's academic writing, general writing. We also have the option of doing speaking and listening. So vote away, let us know, and that will help us to choose future webinar topics. So thank you very much. Now, I'm just noticing there's a lot of interest in speaking, and I would like to tell you a bit about our speaking evaluation package that we also offer on our website. This is a paid-for service with an IELTS examiner. It could be Annalie or myself or one of our other IELTS examiners. And you can go through a full mock speaking test with the examiner, who will give you a grade at the end and give you very detailed feedback on your performance. So if you are planning to take the speaking test, this is a really useful service for you. So feel free to check that out. Okay, I think that's enough for me. Shall we take a look at some of your questions? So the highest voted question is from Bargatha, who has asked why it's about structuring an advantage-disadvantage question. Why can't we start with the weaker side and then the stronger side and then the conclusion? Why should we start by giving the stronger side?
It wouldn't really make that much sense to counter the argument at the beginning and then go on to the side that you agree with. I think the logical way of organizing it is to say why you agree with this. Remember, at the end of the introduction, you've said very clearly, I'm going to argue on this side. Then you explain why you're arguing on this side. Then you show that you understand that some people might have another point of view. And then you counter that point of view by saying why it's not really a very good argument. So I think the logic dictates that you support your thesis statement first, and then you introduce some of the other ideas.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, absolutely. We have a question here from Yash, who is asking, can we get the PowerPoint? It might be difficult for us to email you the PowerPoint, Yash, but the recording will be on our Facebook group, so you'll be able to rewatch the PowerPoint on the video there, okay? We have a question from Awad. Hello, Awad. They are asking, what is the most difficult part of writing the essay, so that he or she knows what to focus on?
I'm not quite sure if I understand that. Oh, what you mean, what is sort of most important to the examiner, I guess?
Possibly, yeah. What's the most difficult part in writing the essay? I mean,
I think one of the things that people don't always get right is to give enough supporting evidence for the arguments that you put forward. It's a mistake to just list ideas on one side and then on the other. So anytime you introduce a subject, make sure that you fully explain why that's a possible argument under this topic. You know, explanations, examples, consequences, etc. Okay, so I think that's one of the things that people maybe find difficult and miss out quite often when they're writing the task 2 essays.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a question here from Sangeetha, who is asking about the advantage disadvantage essay. Is it required to state an opinion?
If it's an outweigh question, it would be better to have an opinion in the introduction, which then you can follow through, and it will be a very clear point of view to the examiner. If the question is discuss, then I would suggest just putting an outline statement at the end of the introduction. So, for example, in this essay, I will present some benefits and drawbacks before providing a conclusion. Okay.
Thank you. A question here from Foram, who is asking, do we need to indent the paragraphs when we're writing?
You don't need to indent, but I would always leave a clear gap between each of the paragraphs to make it very clear to the examiner that now I'm starting a new paragraph. I think its general protocol is to indent the beginning of a paragraph, but you're not going to lose marks if you don't. But you don't want there to be any kind of confusion over where you're finishing one paragraph and where you're starting the next one. So leave a clear line, maybe even 2 clear lines between each of the paragraphs.
So, we have a question from S.A. Who is asking, is there any scoring difference between general academic writing and, general and academic writing task 2?
No, it's the same set of examiner marking criteria, whether you're doing the general training or whether you're doing the academic.
Yeah, great. And Anonymous, possibly the hacker group, is asking,
they're always here.
I know, is asking, what is demographic? What does demographic mean? I think it was used as a paraphrase item earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so a demographic is a certain section of society. So that could be related to age, it could be related to income, but it's a way of dividing up society into different sections. And one section is one demographic.
Excellent, thank you. Jazimuddin has asked if we have a YouTube channel. Jazimuddin, that is something we're planning to launch in the future. So yeah, if you watch out for that, it should be coming fairly soon. And we're planning to upload our webinars onto the YouTube channel as well. So you can find us on there. Okay. Forum has another question here. It's about the use of vocabulary. So can we use recapitulate instead of to summarize? So to recapitulate instead of to summarize. I guess this is in the conclusion.
Yeah, I wouldn't, to be honest. It's not exactly a recapitulation. You're not saying exactly the same thing again. That's a complete repetition rather than a summary. So I would stick with in conclusion to sum up those kind of expressions. Yeah,
definitely. And Mushtaba, hi Mushtaba, is asking how many words are usually expected?
Okay, in the task 2, the minimum word count is 250, and you do lose a lot of marks if you're below the word count. You lose them in the task response section. There's no maximum limit, but you do need to be aware of the fact that you have 40 minutes to write. and that you definitely need to have your conclusion finished at the end of that 40 minutes. So I wouldn't advise going too far above maybe 270, 280, something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Sarah May is asking, well, first of all, thank you for a very well laid out discussion. Thank you, Sarah May. She is wondering, would this kind of essay writing be both in general and academic, or is it slightly different?
You could get the advantages, disadvantages in both types. There's really very little difference between the general training and the academic in terms of the task two. Really, I'd say the only difference is that the general training tend to be a bit more generally phrased, whereas the academic ones can be very specific in what they're asking about.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Olatunde has asked, and I think this was answered a bit earlier, but what band score can we give this essay? I would say that's comfortably a band 9 essay. I think it has all the features of a band 9. It's accurate, a wide range of language, and a well-developed argument. So that, you know, I think maybe it's important to say that a band 9 isn't some impossible, unobtainable, perfect essay. It is just a regular, well-argued essay with no mistakes or very few mistakes. So, yeah. And Carol has asked, what is the word count for this essay? And I believe the word count was about 267, around that. So a little bit over 250, but not too much higher. Okay. I have a question here on paraphrasing from Atta. If you run out of synonyms and repeat a particular word about 3 times, will you be penalized?
It's not that specific. Generally, they're looking for you to have a wide resource, okay? And if it seems that you are using just a limited number of words, or you can only access a limited number of words that you have, then that's when you will lose marks in the lexical resource. So it's not really so much like, oh, they repeated this word. It's more, you know, does it seem that they only have limited vocabulary that they can use? I think if you have shown some paraphrasing, you've used some synonyms, then that's going to be fine. Don't overstress too much about using the same word again. That's not really going to be a problem. I think one of the other points is the more specific the arguments are that you present in your essay, and if you have very different arguments, that allows you to have a very good range of vocabulary. If your arguments are repetitive, then you will find that the vocabulary is repetitive as well. It's also better to repeat a word than to use a word which isn't really a synonym, or is a bit awkward, or isn't the right register, something like that. So don't overstress the whole synonym thing. Think more about broadly the use of language and having a good range of language that you're using.
Absolutely. We have a question from Rabia in the chat, who's asking, how can we join the speaking mock test that we mentioned earlier? Rabia, that's on our website, IELTSonlinetest.com, and I'm just putting a link to that in the chat there. So feel free to take a look at the speaking evaluation service. It is a paid service, unlike the webinars which we make for free. We also offer some paid services like writing evaluation and speaking evaluation. So if you think that would be helpful for you, feel free to check it out. Awad has a question here. Can we get blank paper in the exam so that we can write down our points? And a second related question, what is better for writing, pen or pencil? So
Okay. Well, in terms of the pen and pencil, I think that's just a personal choice. You know, some people prefer one or the other. Obviously, if you're writing in pencil, it's easier to rub it out. But you know, that's really up to you. You have quite a lot of space on the question paper. And I think this relates to a question that I saw in chat as well. So when you make your plan, write your plan on the question paper. And then the question paper is shredded at the end of the test. Also, if you want to make some notes, sometimes people like to just write out a word to check the spelling before they put it into the essay. Again, do that on the question paper. You can ask for more answer sheets if you need more answer sheets, but do make sure that what you've written as the essay and anything that you might have done in terms of notes is very clearly distinguished. So I would always cross out any notes that you make unless you put them on the question paper. Okay, and probably best keep any notes, anything like that on the question paper. Keep your essay on the answer sheet, and you can get more paper if you need.
Right. Yeah. I have a question here from Siraj. This is an interesting one. If using I and we is not preferred in writing, how can I represent my stance in writing task 2? So ways of avoiding the personal pronouns I and we, but still giving a personal opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, first of all, it's not a problem to use I in the introduction or the conclusion to give your opinion. It's just the body where you shouldn't use I. Okay, the bodies should always be presented objectively, but it's perfectly fine to say, I strongly believe, it is my view that, in the conclusion. If you don't want to do that, you know, there are other linking phrases and introductory phrases you can use which still clearly show that this is a point of view. You know, for example, you know, clearly, evidently, it is undeniable that, one of those kind of, they're quite strong expressions which do show a point of view without using I or we.
Yeah, great. We have a question from Jazimuddin, who has said, I want someone to assess my writing and how much will it cost? Jazimuddin, the link I've put in the chat, that will take you to our paid for services. The writing evaluation is $12.99 for one. I think if you purchase more than one, there's different packages available. So from that, you'll get a full report based on your writing, the strengths and weaknesses, and how you can, what you could do to improve that essay to a much higher band. So you can find the link to that in the chat. Okay. And Divya is asking, how are the marks divided between task 1 and task 2? What's the, I guess, proportion of marks?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the task 2 is more important. The weight is definitely with the task 2, so you definitely need to make sure that you've done that as well as you can. It's basically 2/3 against 1/3. Okay.
Great. Excelently. So Jerry has asked, can I change some subjects into they or those? So I guess a way of paraphrasing to use, yeah, the pronouns.
Generally, you would use this or these if you are referring back to something, and if you want to use, you want to use that rather than repeating the same noun, which is important. It's a very good way of making it a smoother link, but it would be this or these or which if you were continuing the same sentence.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a few minutes left and still quite a few questions, so we'll try and get through as many as we can. And for Olatunde is asking, is the duration of the writing the same in the paper-based and the computer-based exam?
Yeah, it's 1 hour. It's 1 hour for the writing exam.
Great. And Majo Joy is asking, how to write the thesis easily. What would be an easy way to present the thesis in the introduction?
Okay, so remember the thesis statement is just giving your opinion. So you would begin it with a linking phrase or an introductory phrase that shows that it's your opinion. You can use I, so you can't, particularly if it's an opinion essay or it's a discussion essay, I strongly believe that, etc. If you want to do it a little differently, you can do what we did here, which was this essay will argue that. Okay, and then you give the point of view.
Yeah, it's great. Sangeetha has asked us, do we have any views on the computerized IELTS test in terms of maybe the difference between that and the paper-based one?
Again, I think this is really a personal choice. I mean, for me personally, I would find it very hard to do the IELTS on a computer. I would always prefer a paper-based, but I don't think there's any objective difference between them. It's really, there's no difference between how they're marked or anything like that. But it's really, which do you feel more comfortable with? Which do you feel, happier doing?
Excellent. Yeah. And we have, I think, time for one final question from Awad, who is asking, why do we not provide a full package of all the mock tests instead of getting them separately? That's a very good idea, Awad. We'll definitely consider putting that, and that might be something we offer in the future. So thank you. I'm very sorry, everyone, but we're about out of time for today's webinar. So we've it seems no matter how much time we leave at the end, Annalie, there are always more questions.
More questions. Yeah.
It's great, we really enjoy answering your questions, and so we have the results of our poll here, which I think if you can see this, there's a lot of interest in a speaking webinar in the future. So that's something we can definitely look at in the future. Surprising amount on reading and listening as well are very popular. So this is something we can also look at. And then followed that with general. So we have some good ideas for the next few sessions. We'll put that together, and we'll let you know what's planned for our next one. So I'd just like to finish by thanking everyone for joining us today, and a very big thank you to Annalie for presenting and fielding all our questions. So thanks,
everybody. Thanks. Bye-bye. See you next time.
Bye-bye. We will put the recording up on our Facebook group, and we'll let you know the topic of our next webinar shortly. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.